What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Yesterday, Mario Luigi Brothership reviews dropped. It's coming out later on this week, and for the most part, I thought the reviews were okay, but there was one in particular caused quite a commotion online, and we'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about a release that is more than 20 years in the making, going back to the early 2000s for a certain showing at E3 that will actually be playable this weekend. And then we also have to go over Ubisoft's latest game that's based around NFTs and is quite embarrassing. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps it a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members for the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button down below this video. And we're gonna start today with another game that's coming out actually on Friday, and that's Slitterhead. This is from Bokeh Studios. It was formed by actually people who've pretty much been in that survival horror kind of genre. And in this case, the big person there is actually was behind Silent Hill, and we can see the reviews for it that went up. Yeah, it's sitting at a 60. Now, this is primarily around PlayStation 5, which got the majority of the reviews here, and most of the reviews came in as mixed. And after going through it, it does seem like many of the reviewers were at least interested in the game being significantly different than anything else they've played. But of course, with that came good and bad, and a lot of it wasn't great necessarily. Now, again, looking over it, I'm curious about this one, but I think this is one that I'm going to wait to pick up later on, probably when it goes on sale. But I will say kind of the premise of it, leaning once again into that survival horror, but also action-based gameplay, and the fact that you don't actually play as one single person, you play as an entity that jumps between different characters, and they have different apparently abilities and traits, rarity, and that kind of thing. It's at least looks interesting from the outside, but unfortunately, because they try to tackle so many mechanics, it was said that they don't really master or really good at any of them. But still, it's something I've been at least curious about from the outside, that this Slitterhead project, so I'll check it out at some point when I get some time, because right now there are just games everywhere. Also, we've been talking about Microsoft seemingly hinting at other games from their first-party catalog going over to, say, PlayStation, and it looks like we may have got a glimpse at what maybe the next announcement is. We can see this posted up over on their subreddit, and it appears to be Age of Empires 2 on PlayStation. At least it was noticed that there were PlayStation logos popping up for some of the different teams here, and it seems like there may be some testing that's happening. There was already rumors that Age of Empires 2 would actually be making the jump. I believe this was from Tom Warren over on The Verge. But it wouldn't shock me if this is one of them. Once again, Microsoft kind of testing the waters on different genre types, in this case, a real-time strategy game, and I wouldn't be shocked if you see also something like Flight Simulator at some point. One of the big ones that some were mentioning would be Forza Horizon, and I think it would actually do quite well on PlayStation platforms, because while Gran Turismo is there, it's not really that arcadey open-world style game that Forza Horizon is, but at least for now, don't be surprised if Age of Empires 2 gets announced sometime soon. Oh, and do you remember how we just talked about Wonder Woman, as that was announced 3 years or so ago now by Monolith? Well, wouldn't you know it, on their website, take a look. Yeah, it's like front and center. If you go there, Wonder Woman right there. People were noticing this, and all of a sudden, like, hold on a minute, this is like right there now. It seems to have been an update somewhat recently, and interesting. I mean, again, we are set up here for the Game Awards soon, and that technically, I guess, is where it debuted originally. So why not remind everyone that it's still a thing, and maybe, I don't know, show some gameplay for it, or at least in-game visuals, an idea as to what exactly we're dealing with here. We haven't seen that Nemesis system in use for quite some time, and apparently this being a third-person action-adventure, I guess open-world style game that won't be leaning into live services is at least somewhat intriguing to me, especially when you get away from what we've seen recently with things like Suicide Squad or Gotham Knights. So we'll have to keep an eye out. Maybe heading into December, start to hear some rumblings of Wonder Woman having another showing. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Mario and Luigi Brothership, which is continuing Nintendo's trend of releasing games on Thursday. So just a couple of days, the latest Mario and Luigi game will release, and I guess the first time on a console, at least playable then on a TV technically here, which is actually a big point that was brought up that we'll get to later on. But first, let's take a look how exactly it rated here over on Metacritic, currently sitting at an 80, which I figured this would have been like low 80s, so that's right around where my expectation was for it. Over on the critics split, though, we have 50 positive, 10 mixed, so actually quite favoring positive here. And just looking up and down the list of different outlets, we have Stevivor with 95 saying with so many bespoke moments for each little mini story, complete with unique mini games and interesting character arcs, Brothership is bursting at the seams with fun things to do. We have Vandal with a 93 saying Brothership is everything you knew about the series taken to the next level. If you like RPGs with a great sense of humor, you shouldn't miss it. We do have Nintendo Life saying Mario and Luigi Brothership takes his long-running RPG series to new heights in a high-seas adventure that's packed full of top-notch combat, inventive variety, and positive and thoughtful story, and lots of signature comedy from the dynamic duos themselves, that with a 90. So as I mentioned, it seemed like there's a lot of green, a lot of positive reviews coming in, but there was one review specifically that seemed to cause quite the commotion online, despite actually being next to, say, Digital Trends, which gave it a 50. IGN actually gave it a 5 out of 10, or technically on the Metacritic scale, a 50. And when they posted that review up, which, funny enough, that was the first one I saw when I was scrolling through Twitter as reviews had just dropped, and I said, whoa, this game's got a 5 out of 10. What's that mean for everywhere else? And I look and everyone else is like, oh yeah, it's what you'd expect from Mario and Luigi, a fun, tongue-in-cheek style RPG with the two characters. It's like, oh, well, what happened here exactly? Well, we can see IGN with their summary here at the bottom next to the 5, where they say, apart from its great battle system, Mario & Luigi Brothership is an incredibly disappointing revival that suffers from boring gameplay and dialogue, a bloated runtime, shockingly bad performance, and a fundamental misunderstanding of what made the series great. Wow, that's some scathing words for Brothership. Now, I will say this, the one thing that seemed to come up quite a bit, and it is glossed over more and more, especially as the Switch gets older, because it's like, well, it's the Switch. What do you want it to do? It's using a chip from 2015. Performance, even with first-party games, has been kind of declining right now, and this sounds like it may be one of the latest examples. Now, it was mentioned that it does play better just overall in handheld mode, but this is technically the first real push for Mario and Luigi to home consoles, technically with the Switch, of course, be able to play docked, so that having unfortunate performance issues there that are noticeable and can affect the gameplay because there is timing-based elements, well, yeah, that would obviously knock down points and would probably become very, very annoying over time. Now, the rest of this, though, it seems like it's kind of that like hand-holding type experience, a very like an easier RPG, one that is more geared towards a younger audience. But once again, if you've been playing the Mario and Luigi franchise for quite some time, you're not really going into this expecting the next big RPG experience like Metaphor or something. You're going into this thinking, okay, Mario and Luigi are going to have some fun back and forth, some fun banter, some tongue-in-cheek comedy and stuff, and it'll be kind of a light RPG experience with a bunch of exploration in different areas. And if that's what you're expecting, well, sounds like the release is right up your alley. Here's hoping, though, that Nintendo, again, the whole next-gen thing on the horizon, sure, but we can revisit some of these games with better performance with that newer system. We hope with backwards compatibility because, yeah, the Switch it's struggling right now, and that is the most glaring issue that I think we've been seeing over and over and over again recently. Even if the game is very good, it's always that caveat of, yeah, but it has these weird stutters or frame rate issues, but otherwise, if you look past that and maybe you're going to play it as a handheld game anyway, I mean, you're probably already sold on it, and a lot of the reviews only just work to solidify that. So, hey, it's coming out on Thursday. Once again, I would like to check it out, but I'm just buried in a bunch of games, and I will get to it eventually at some point. Also, I understand that IGN gave Concord a 7 and Mario and Luigi a 5, but the thing I think people need to remember is they have many different reviewers who review different games, so the person, I guess, reviewing Concord wouldn't have been reviewing this one, so unfortunately, it's hard to line these up apples to apples, even though, yes, I know, it is under that IGN banner, and it does look kind of weird when you have those two scores and titles next to each other. Next up, let's talk about a blast from the past, something I didn't really think I would ever see brought back and actually made playable, and this has to do with Halo 2 at E3 2003, which I think many of you kind of know where I'm going here. they had, that being Microsoft and Bungie at the time, this showing that at least gave us an idea as to the gameplay for the title, and it was really exciting because think about going from Halo 1, spending years playing that with LAN play and stuff. You hear some of the rumors around Halo 2 with this being this almost next-gen experience, but still on your Xbox with online play and stuff. And then they show up with a trailer that was, again, it was an idea of, oh, we're going to walk them through this level for 7 or 8 minutes and show off some of the most incredible visuals we've ever seen. I mean, it was next level excitement and next level stuff at this event. The only problem was it didn't really work that well behind the scenes, and there's a lot of information around this specific demo and why it was kind of not really possible technically without it crashing most of the time on an Xbox console. Nonetheless, we actually are to a point now where apparently this weekend we will be able to play this thing. We can see this posted up. This is over on news.xbox.com, where they say now for the first time ever, fans will be able to step back to 2003 inside a recreation of the demo, playable inside the Halo Master Chief Collection via Steam. As part of the dig site partnership between the studio and the modding community, hey, shout out to the community out there, players will be able to go hands-on with the remastered Halo 2 E3 demo when this free mod releases on Steam Workshop on November 9th, which I'm sure many of you Halo diehards out there know. It's actually the 20th anniversary. I'm gonna say that one more time. 20th anniversary for Halo 2, which is, we get those anniversaries that sneak up on us. We just talked about Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which was like, wow, it's been 20 years. I'm doing that again for Halo 2 because, yes, I have a lot of memories for Halo back in the day, and especially Halo 2 when it first came out, and you look down and you saw that Master Chief's legs were there, and it was just mind-blowing, but the online play, the visuals, the variety of gameplay here, the dual, like be able to dual wield guns and stuff, it was crazy stuff. And now, finally being able to go back and cross off on the bucket list, playing through that demo is exciting stuff. I am checking it out this weekend, and I might actually do a video, just kind of my playthrough of it, and post it up online, because I think that would be a lot of fun to kind of revisit that in video form. But let me know what you think, and let me know if you will be playing this Halo 2 E3 2003 demo as well. Next up, let's talk about Ubisoft's latest game, or I guess Ubisoft's latest game, and I say that because this is kind of an embarrassing moment here for Ubisoft, which is kind of saying something, but we had already heard about their push towards blockchain, Web3, NFTs, and it was so transparent why that was the case, because in their mind was so much money that was involved with this that they would at least churn something out to just see if it sticks. And they did indeed do that, and it went about as well as you would expect. Once again, consider how much money can become involved in NFTs. Makes microtransactions look like you're putting a couple of quarters into a vending machine. Let's take a look. This is actually posted up over on VGC, and stick around for a moment because I actually decided to fire the game up and try it out and recorded some stuff here, but we can see VGC posted, saying Web3 competitive turn-based RPG Champions Tactics Grimoire Chronicles is impossible to play online because of one user whose name is usually either Schiller11 or Paulstar111, who appears to be automatically winning every online battle. One player pointed out that the Paulstar111 account was top of the rankings with over 56,000 matches played. It's not yet clear how the player has been able to connect to so many games and automatically win them. Now, since then, the team behind this game at Ubisoft said they're aware of it and they're working to fix it, which they did, to their credit. I checked the rankings just in general with leaderboards, and I didn't see Paul Star or Schiller anywhere, and it seemed like the person at the top of the leaderboard had played a couple hundred matches, so not 56,000 in this case. But after checking out the game very briefly, it's about what you'd expect for a game that has to figure out ways to come up with rare items. Like, so obviously if you have a trading card game, it's pretty easy to then link that as it being rare pieces with these different cards and make them very unique. Here though, it seems like they made a bunch of figures that you collect and you use them in battle in what is an incredibly basic turn-based RPG setup, and you just go against someone else, 3 figures versus the other 3. And to be honest, going through this, they all kind of look the same. Like there's not a lot of variety. There's nothing really interesting going on here with the different figures that I saw. And I decided after playing around to check the marketplace, which is a big point of contention because when it comes to NFTs, you can have some that for some reason the value is the thousands and thousands of dollars for no reason. And that's like on the low end after we saw millions of dollars getting thrown around for any one NFT like what, 4 or 5 years or something ago. Well, here's the marketplace. I scrolled through and it's actually not as bad as what was kind of being hyped up online as some things costing $24,000. Now, the majority is like 20, 30, 40 bucks, but think about what I just said. It's not as bad as 24,000. It's like 30, 40, 50. We talk about deluxe editions, microtransactions that are like $5 or $10 or something. Even 20 bucks is like, whoa. NFTs that are 30, 40, 50 bucks. And it's like, not a big deal. It's just such a different, it's just a contrast in terms of the different worlds here when it comes to value propositions. And it's pretty obvious why Ubisoft wants to do this, since in gaming, the smaller microtransactions aren't as accepted as in with blockchain and Web3, NFTs that are hundreds of dollars are the norm, and you look at the fees that Ubisoft is taking where it's anywhere from 1.5% to 6%. Well, there you go. It all kind of lines up with them tying it to the blockchain and just shaving a bit off the top with this user marketplace that I assume they hope will take off. But it's just like, this is what they're doing? Like an NFT game that is, the quality is just like, it's like the floor level. It's just not good. So it's not even really advertised on the website. They don't really even seem proud of it at this point with how they have it set up, and the fact that it was already exploited day one might have something to do with tons of money potentially being linked to it. Wow, who'd have thought that when someone sees an opportunity like that, they work to exploit it for several days where the game is just made completely unplayable. But hey, it's out there, it's free. I don't really recommend playing it, but technically you could check it out if you get a chance. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Xbox Game Pass games heading into the service for November. And we do have a day one release today that I'm actually excited to at least fire up and check out as I have time, which we can head over here. This is news.xbox.com. Starting at the top with Metal Slug Tactics, cloud, console, and PC November 5th. This is one of the few games where I go, oh, maybe that would be a good cloud game. I can even see this being something you could technically play on your phone with the touch screen, the tactical style game like this, but really cool stuff. I've been waiting for this game for a while. I was so interested to see them take Metal Slug and move it into this tactics-like gameplay. So available day one right there. Check it out today on Game Pass, on Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass. Moving over to November 6th, we have Go Mecha Ball, that's console. We have Harold Halibut, that's Xbox Series X and S. We have The Rewinder, that's on console. Turnip Boy Robs at a Bank, okay, that's on console. Moving to November 7th, we have Goat Simulator Remastered Cloud, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. Moving to November 19th, we have Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which I'm not really into the flight simulator stuff, but I will say it looks pretty impressive with like the missions and stuff you can go on, getting out of the plane. It's just, there at least is, I could see progress being made here to try to take it at least to the next level. And of course, if you missed it, on PC, they have StarCraft Remastered on PC, and then StarCraft 2 Campaign Collection on PC. So not a bad month to me, though. The big one, obviously, is going to be Metal Slug Tactics, and maybe I will check it out even on PC with one of those PC handhelds like the ROG Ally or something. I'd like to find a way to fit this in with all the different games that I'm currently playing now. But that's just how it is. There's so many games coming out, and we're rolling into November now. I'm eyeing up things like Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, for example, and it's just game after game after game right now. I guess it's not a bad problem to have, but it is certainly one you have to try to sort out and figure out where your priority is. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, are you picking up Mario and Luigi Brothership? Well, okay, 41% say no, I'm not interested. 41% also say maybe later if there's a sale. And then 18% say yes, getting it ASAP. I know some people say that there won't be a sale on this anytime soon, but I mean, we've seen like the eShop get digital sales quite frequently, even less than a year after a game comes out. I wouldn't be shocked if next year, for example, this gets one of those 33% off discounts or something like that. And I think I'll get it well before then, because I did like the Mario and Luigi games on the Game Boy Advance specifically, and I think it'd be fun just to see how this one turns out in person natively on my TV, because the art style I don't think translates as well through compression on YouTube and stuff, this seems like another case of not necessarily, oh, it's 4K so it doesn't come through, but just kind of like the color palette and stuff. I feel like this is one that would look pretty good, say, on an OLED, but I guess I'll find out at some point, hopefully before January or February. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Depa, who says, just weird, the music app isn't actually on the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure Nintendo will figure that out 3 years into the Switch 2's life. You know, the one thing I wouldn't mind seeing with the next system is multitasking. So you could have the Nintendo Music app open while you're playing a game, and you can just pick whatever music you want to listen to. Kind of reminds me of back in the day with the Xbox 360. You'd rip like music CDs to the hard drive, and you'd be able to listen to them with different games. So you could, yes, in some cases make it so there'd be like entrance music for, I think different wrestling games would do that. But also, in some cases, you could just play the music while you're playing through a game. I think Ninja Gaiden was a big one at that time, where you could have background music going and just hacking and slashing. So maybe that'd be a fun thing to where when you hit the home button, it doesn't necessarily just kick you back to the main menu. There's like a whole sub menu that comes up, and you can pick and choose what tracks you're running on this Nintendo Music app. But for now, obviously, they wanted to try to cast a wide net to a general audience. And well, if you go to Android and iOS, you're going to find the most general audience possible. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card, or maybe you're still trying to get prepped and ready to go for the PlayStation 5 Pro. I went over all the different leaks and rumors and stuff that were getting out there over the weekend. I'll leave it right below it. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.